Why, hello everyone, and welcome to Jolene's Happy Time Craftcast. I'm Jolene, and I'm absolutely thrilled that you are a part of today's episode. I know I say it every week, and I talk about how excited I am for the guests who have joined me. I'm going to do it again today. I'm going to talk about how excited and thrilled I am to introduce you to today's guests. So, I'm going to try not to get emotional because she's a really good friend and she's a talented artist. And if you've seen her on social media, like me, you've probably been quite mesmerized with what she's able to create out of polymer clay. In 2020, she started her own business called Meeshmade. And ever since then, she has been creating polymer clay artwork in the form of earrings that I've never seen anything like it. She is real and wonderful, and she is an artist that I just want to be like because she's so good at showing us exactly who she is, and who she is wonderful. So I know you will do me all proud, and if you're on the live, thank you so much for being here. We are going to welcome Michelle Butler of Meeshmade to the Happy Time Craftcast.
Hi! Oh, that was really nice. Now I'm emotional. Thank you so much.
Every word. I meant every word. And I don't know if I told that part about how we're friends in real life, and our text chat of crafty friends.
I know.
Michelle and I are a part of. There are 5 wonderful artists in that group, and so I get to talk to you almost every day. So this is
It really
real
is a gift. Yes, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. You fogged up my glasses because you said
just
so
a
many
little,
nice
just
things.
a little service I provide. Just real quick. So I told folks a little bit about 2020 and when you started, but is there something like when people say, "Hey, Michelle, what do you do?" What do you say?
I often just panic because it feels hard to articulate in a way that, like, if you aren't familiar with art, like artist jobs,
Yeah.
it just feels hard to articulate, sort of. But I usually say I own a small jewelry company. I am trying to give myself permission to describe myself more as like an artist, which for some
Mhm.
reason, I know you've had previous guests talk about how that sometimes seems like weird to describe yourself as, but
Yeah.
that really is what I am. So um, that's kind of what I try to say. I'm a clay artist. I have a small company that mostly I make jewelry, and I work for myself, is what I tell people. So
I mean, it's a great answer, but I think the thing that, I want us to sidestep just a little bit and talk about. So I'm wearing a pair today.
oh yeah,
These are, I
I
know if
love
you're
those.
listening, you cannot see them, but they are a very pale lavender polymer clay oval. And on top of them are hand sculpted and crafted kind of a cream colored flower. And I believe these are called the cameos, correct?
Yeah, those are cameos because they're
These are
inspired by
cameos. Okay.
cameo jewelry. Yeah.
Now, your clay earrings, my sweet friend, are not like anyone else's clay
Oh,
earrings. Like
that's so kind.
you, it's like this, there's this one and then there's you. So how did this beautifully intricate, wonderful artistic expression happen?
I did start out making just regular old.
Molds and rolling and
Yeah,
tell me
yeah.
more about
So
that.
I started out with a lot more geometric shapes, and I still love so many of those styles. There's so much good work out there that I really admire. And something clicked for me. I can't even remember how exactly it started, but something clicked for me about the idea of making them 3D. Because as you can see, my designs like really come off like here's a
Mhm.
wall hanging. They come off the
They're dimensional. Yeah.
yeah, they're dimensional. And my very first foray into that, like, I have some early ones that are definitely a little bit rougher, but it just really clicked. Like, I think I have often described myself as a very chaotic creative who doesn't see a project through, and this like intricacy and almost tedium that is involved in my pieces surprised me that how much I like was enamored
It's
by it.
so like the leaves are so fragile looking, and like the lines between the leaves, like whatever that's called, that part of the leaf, that like I just can't believe how teeny tiny it all is. You must have mastered that feeling of I am a giant, you know?
I do feel like it has taken many years of practice. I definitely,
Mhm.
like, if you look at my earlier stuff, it's a little bit rougher. The pieces aren't quite as small. The details aren't as tiny. It definitely has taken a lot of practice to
Mhm.
feel like I can work on such a small scale. But the size of the tools you use really does help. And I feel
Mhm.
like discovering what works best has just been trial and error and
Right.
part of the process. And it has been a gift that I gave myself because I didn't give up this time.
You really did not give up. They are so
Yeah.
amazing. So,
Thank
okay,
you.
so in the polymer clay world, like, do
hmm
you have a favorite project or a favorite medium or a favorite technique?
My very favorite thing is always like what I just made or what I'm just
Or
working
like in
on.
this
Like
moment,
it's
like I just
constantly
made this
like,
thing.
yeah,
Yes,
just the
yes,
novelty really does it for me. But right now I have done primarily earrings, like you said, and
yes,
then I've been asked by my lovely customers over and over for pendants and necklaces.
yes.
And I just started doing wallflowers, which are
Which
like
are,
miniature wall hangings. Oh,
yes,
thank you. And those I
amazing.
thank you. Yeah, I have a couple here that the people in person can see. And if you're on audio, sorry.
So
But
come really, really close, and then
where's my camera? I don't even
I
know.
don't know.
There we go.
Hold still, right there, right there, there.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. So the intricacies of these.
Yeah.
Look at that one.
I
Like
know. I love these colors so much.
those are great colors.
So that's
So
been my favorite lately is the wallflowers. But
right. And so is there anything that in your process you don't really enjoy making? Are you like, ugh, I gotta make a whole bunch of these?
sometimes I do get bogged down by the hoops. I'm wearing hoops today, so
Oh
I
yes,
I love them. They're more repetitive and less like artistically
yes,
engaging. So
yes,
that part I can sometimes be irritated by, especially when like some batches just don't cooperate and have like a
yeah.
lot of flaws, and then I'm like, "Ugh, I have to start over."
Mhm.
So those aren't as enjoyable or like fulfilling creatively to me, but I love wearing them, so we
Right.
persist. Yeah.
Right? I don't have a pair of those yet, but what I love about mine, I can tell when someone is like staring at my earrings. They're just like, and I'm like, hello there. I would love to tell you about them if you would just like ask me a question.
I
But
know. My eyes
every
are up here.
every time though, Michelle, somebody says something to me. I feel like I should have little Meeshmade cards like in my pocket, be a little brand
Oh,
ambassador.
you
Because they
surely
are
could be. That'd be
when
very
you say
sweet.
statement earrings, like you're not kidding. Like they are so special. And because I know you and love you, I love them so, so much. Now I know because I'm in your pocket every day that you sometimes get a little bit of heat about your model. Can you
I
like explain
do.
that to us?
Well, when I first started out, like I very gradually built my customer base over time through social media
Mm-hmm.
primarily, and things just kind of took off with my friend Laurel of TikTok fame getting dressed. She shares her outfits, shared a video that went really viral, and that kind of
Yeah.
changed the tide very quickly for me. And so I
Mm-hmm.
kind of had to scramble because I went from doing made to order and I'd receive an order
Right.
and then get it out like within a week.
Mm-hmm.
And that became completely unsustainable very quickly, which I'm so grateful for. Like I dreamed of this, of being able to not meet demands, basically. Like, how great would it be to sell out?
Right.
Um, so I changed things really quickly to being available all the time as made to orders, to doing like monthly drops with what I can reasonably make in a month to preserve my own sanity and also to like still be available to my family and all of the things that like I wanted to have a work life balance. So that has worked really well for my workflow,
Yeah.
but some of the more popular styles sell out within moments. And I'm always shocked and have a hard time communicating to new friends that It's
Okay,
all
okay, okay.
possible.
I have to just interject. Like they sell out within moments.
I
Like
know.
I
It's
want to just
unbelievable.
wiggle around in those words for a
I
while.
can't believe it.
Like
Yeah.
that's so beautiful and
It
so
really makes me
amazing.
emotional. I've cried on TikTok many times about
It makes
thank
me
you guys.
emotional. Like, I'm
Yeah.
so happy for you, and I feel like so well deserved.
Oh, thank you.
Because I mean, I know that, I mean, I have a reputation for being kind of sunshiny, but I'm not just blowing sunshine because you're my friend. I'm blowing this sunshine because they're so amazing. And
Oh, thank
I've
you.
I've never had anything quite like it. So delicate and refined and like with and accessible too. Like if
Oh,
I,
thank you.
like if I can time myself to get in on the drop, and I mean
Hmm.
I know that I have special access, but still, if I follow the rules and you say I have a drop coming and I set my calendar and um, I know that it's still accessible to me. That's, I think, one of the reasons why I love them so much, that they're still within the range of affordability. They're
Hmm.
beautiful. And I also love, I've never told you this, how light they are.
Oh, that's my favorite part. I can't deal with a heavy
Me
earring, so
either. I'm
yeah.
kind of sensitive to
Hmm.
that kind of stuff. And
Me too.
I kind of forget that they're there and I love them so much.
Oh, thank you so much.
So when is your next drop?
So my next one is going to be the week of April 12th, I believe. I got to decide
Okay.
which day to do because I've had a few requests to do them at a
And
different time. So we'll
do
try to
you
mix
have
it up.
do you have special colors coming out in this drop, or
I
special
I
items?
do. I'm so excited. So I have these like citron hoops that are just a vibrant yellow that is new to my palette for a while, and I'm
Nice.
feeling very excited about it coming up with summer. This like brighter terracotta color is one that I'm using this time around. This this hot pink is not new. This is like a signature color for me, but
Yes,
it's coming back because I love it so
that's
much.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's
And then the
awesome.
rest, we'll see where my creative brain takes me.
So kind of mid-April, we should all be watching for
Hmm.
the next Meeshmade drop.
Yes.
And to be informed of that, folks should sign up to be on your email list or your text list.
Yes, that's the best
Yes.
way to get
Okay.
like all the information. I do announce it on social media, but
Right.
algorithmically those don't get seen by
Right.
everybody. So it just
Right.
depends. But
So I
text
will
and
make sure to
email.
put that in the show notes
Oh,
so
thank
that
you.
people know where to find it, and that it's easy access. So, and two, then if you follow some of those links, you can see what I'm just gushing about in real life.
Oh,
You can
thank
see them
you.
a little
That's
bit
so
closer.
kind.
I did forget to mention that this is a special episode for Michelle and I because it's
Oh,
birthday week
it
and we are
is.
birthday twins, which, how many times does that happen in your life? I
That's so
want,
fun.
isn't it fun?
Uh-huh.
So our birthdays are on Sunday.
Yep.
And so are you a big birthday person? Do you like presents and all of the things that go along with birthdays?
I really do. And I think
Me
it's
too.
just because I just love a celebration. Like
Hmm.
I can be relatively sunshine. I try to focus on the sunshiny as well, like we
Yes,
discussed,
yes.
because I actually am a pretty cynical person. So then I try to counteract that a
Right,
little.
we hide our cynicism.
Yeah. But this makes me like any reason to celebrate seems like
Yeah.
something that should be just, blow it out of proportion, make it do it up, why not?
Well, and don't you find for me when people are like, "Oh, it's my birthday, it's no big deal. I don't really do birthdays," or "I don't want anything. I don't want,
Hmm.
presents or cake or anything like that." I'm just like, don't expect me to say any of those things because I love birthdays and I
I
love
know.
all the stuff that goes along with it.
That's how I feel too. I always want to tell those people, like, you deserve to be celebrated.
Right.
You deserve it, which I don't know. They could have all kinds of
Right,
reasons for why they don't
exactly.
like it, but I'm like, you deserve someone to make a big deal out of you.
I completely agree with you. So, and speaking of big deals, so I think that you and I also have in common that we have had pretty strong, crafty, artistic influences in our moms. Can you
Mm-hmm.
talk a little bit about what it was like for you being raised by a crafty person?
I really attribute my mom for all of the crafty things. Like, she very much just you like embraced that side of herself and used it as such a resource.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I remember her making so many Halloween costumes. She still sews all the time. But is so big into sewing, and she's quilted and she's dabbled in all kinds of things. But she would always make our Halloween costumes like from scratch, and they were in retrospect incredible. Now that I am in charge of doing them for my children, I can't believe how much work she put in. And then
Right.
also, my brother has pretty significant developmental disabilities and uses a wheelchair. And, when I was a kid, we were kids in the 90s, like a lot of the time, there just weren't as many options now as there are now for his, like clothing, for example, that
Mm-hmm.
was would accommodate a wheelchair. And as he grew, I remember she would make him these like hoodie, sweatshirt, blanket combinations so it could just be fit over top of his chair because he also had to have like arm straps. So
Right.
any type of jacket was very difficult. And she just solved that problem. She like fixed his
Mhm.
straps so many times. And I just remember thinking like, as I grew up, oh, not everyone's mom has this superpower. Like she
Right.
just creates a solution whenever we need one. And I just admire that so much still. And I think it taught me that like the sky's the limit. Like you can make
Right.
anything you want to make, and you should embrace this part of yourself.
I remember the first time I heard someone say, I'm just not crafty.
Hmm.
And I honestly did not know that there was an option.
Right.
Like I didn't
I
know
agree.
you were or you were not,
Hmm.
because I was raised by a mother it's an old reference, but with a MacGyver type mind of,
Right. Yeah.
coming up with a solution for whatever the problem is. And you, me, and my mom, and maybe your mom too, um, we use the term busy hands.
Oh,
Can you
yes.
tell me what busy hands means to you?
I definitely can, because I also like this. I don't know. This goes hand in hand with like the idea of being just kind of like a chaotic creative type. Like I remember feeling like I was not super comfortable being alone in my head,
Hmm.
and like just taking in, you know, waiting for an appointment or sitting in the car waiting without something to distract
Hmm.
myself. And I think that because of that, I often like read as a child and just was constantly looking for a way to entertain myself.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
realized as I've grown up that when my hands are busy, that I actually take the time to be in my mind and think
Right.
about like, let myself process those thoughts. And like I'm sure there's a lot to unpack there, but it brought me it I really think like having busy hands and doing this as my full-time job has
Right.
kind of brought me back to myself. Like
Mhm.
it gave me the space and the comfort to be like, well, how do I really feel about that?
Mhm.
How did I feel about that interaction earlier, instead
Mhm.
of just not processing it and shoving it down? Oh, while I'm making these flowers, I can actually give myself the space to feel my
Right.
feelings and not be afraid of them.
Well, and I appreciate you sharing all that because for me, busy hands equal a quiet mouth
uh,
and a quiet mind. And so I started really identifying with my own attraction to busy hands when our kids were in sports, because I was so frustrated with other parents and the things that they would say to and about children
oh, it's brutal out
during
there. Yeah.
athletic events. And
Hmm.
I was so uncomfortable because I mean, I'm sunshine, so there's nothing coming out of my mouth that isn't positive for my
Hmm.
child or someone else's. And certainly never anything like, come on, ref, or, some of those things. And
Hmm.
I found myself so upset sitting in the hockey stands or the volleyball stands or the wrestling, like just so I started bringing projects to every single sporting event as a way to cope with how like sarcastic and reactive I was feeling to parents.
Hmm.
And so for me, that transcends because when my hands were busy, my mouth was quiet. And I didn't engage in some of that negativity. But also outside of my kids' sporting events, I I believe I identify with busy hands because um, I am, as my husband has described, a chaos Muppet. There are lots of things going all of the time.
Yeah.
And my quiet, inward, busy hands helps kind of bring some of that
Right.
down.
Yeah. I related very much to your discussion about the
Yes.
chaos Muppet and the order Muppets. I also married an order Muppet, so
And
that helps.
I used to be offended by this discussion and I would get a little
Me
bit
too.
angry because I
Hmm.
didn't like the word chaos. I thought it was really negative.
Hmm.
But now when I think about it a little bit more intellectually, I try to remove the judgment from that word and
Hmm.
just kind of see it for what it is. But um, it's true. If you haven't listened to that episode, it's kind of a good one in the discussion of chaos Muppets and order
I thought it
Muppets.
was delightful. I
I
agree.
know. And he sits there so intellectually with all that cerebralism and,
Hmm.
explains it in his kind of way. But so with your busy hands, what is
Hmm.
currently on your work table that you might be able to tell our listeners about if they wanted to dabble, if they wanted to
Okay.
give this polymer thing a try?
Okay. If you want to dabble, I feel very strongly that anyone can do this without like a ton of crazy tools, because sometimes that can be such a roadblock
Right.
to getting started. So
Yes.
if you go buy a very affordable pack of polymer clay or a couple different colors,
Do you have a
I
favorite
feel like,
brand?
yes, you want to get Sculpey Souffle is my
Souffle. Okay.
souffle, because they have a couple different like lines,
Yes.
and they have some that are just not for excuse me, not for this. So
Okay.
Sculpey Souffle is what you want. I
Okay.
would avoid Sculpey 3. I don't ever use that and it breaks, so don't do
Oh,
that.
okay. So none
Um,
on three. Gotcha.
yeah. But
And
all
it
you
is
need,
kind of affordable, right? Like
it's very affordable.
$4 a pack or something?
Yeah, I think so. Most places it's under $4 for
Okay.
a little bit, and you could make all kinds of jewelry. You can make beads. The only tools you need to get started are your hands. So,
Okay.
for example, like I like to make a little snake out of clay like this. You can make it into a loop, and then just take like a rolling pin or whatever and flatten it into like an abstract hoop. You
Nice.
could bake that. You can take an X-Acto knife or any pointy, sharp object you have to
Hmm.
cut like studs. You can use liquid clay, which is also in the clay aisle of the craft store, to attach, some affordable earring backs. You can also get those in almost any craft store, or drill a little hole with the tiniest drill that you can find and do a hook. Like the
Oh,
options are endless. And if you
right.
get a few colors, you could combine them, but you don't have to have, like I have, a honkin' professional clay machine. You don't have to
Right.
have all of that. You can, use your own hands to condition the clay, especially if you're just getting started. And if you love it, then see where it takes you.
Right. Exactly. So, I've never told you that I have been a polymer.
I heard this in the
Oh,
last episode
did
and I
you?
was thrilled. I was so
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah, so I have all the colors but I don't have your level of artistry. I am more of I used to make beads
Oh,
in like forms and then I had all the little things that you would dry them on. And then I have molds to squish stuff into, but I don't have the same kind of hand building intricacy. How come I can't say that word?
it's a tricky one.
Thank you. I appreciate
Mhm.
that.
It's hard.
But I don't have that kind of skill set. I have more like I could make a flower in a mold, take it out of the mold, and then glue it to some other kind of like background. But
That would look very pretty. I feel like you've got so
you're so
many options
positive.
there.
Well,
It's
they
true.
are. It's a different kind of, end result. But I guess my question to you is, well, how do you feel then about like pasta rollers and some of those additional tools in the clay space?
Oh, I love them. I think use what works for you.
Sure.
Mine is just like I have had all kinds of pasta machines, and I think if you're going to do any type of mass producing, that definitely is an
Mhm.
easier way to condition clay than with your hands. But don't let the idea that you have to have special tools keep you from
Right.
just trying it out, seeing if you like
Right.
it. But I think there are so many great options available to us. And I still have, like I have just tons of cutters and things that I don't, these are not hand cut because that would take
Right.
forever. And,
It seems like it would be really
they're,
hard to get
yeah.
them even and to like,
Hmm.
should beginners worry about thickness?
I do think you want to avoid going too thick.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I think that all of that works itself out as you get more experience. So there's not
Mm-hmm.
too much to be concerned about. I think trial and error and figuring out what works best for you and getting
Right.
comfortable with
Mm-hmm.
a medium is the way to go, the way to
Do you
start.
ever have any surprises when something comes out of the oven?
I definitely do. My wallflower, my wallflowers in particular are just such a wider swath of clay on the
Mhm.
base that a lot of them have had significant bubbles, which, I've worked with this medium for the better part of 5 years now and have
Mhm.
kind of figured out how to avoid those. That was a feature of my early work, is that not
Sure.
knowing. And so this has been like a new humbling experience. Like, oh, you don't know everything yet. Like we still have
Right.
some work to do. So that's been the latest thing. The
Do you
nice
have
thing,
some advice for beginners then on bubbles?
I mean, I think if you really want to avoid bubbles, then you are going to need to really condition your clay well. So you
Okay.
probably have to work it. Polymer clay, as it comes in a package, is like a salad dressing that separates, the herbs and
Um,
things inside will separate from the oil, and then you have to
okay.
shake it up. So then clay is the same way. You just can't see that happening. So the polymers have to mix together again with the binders, or else you're going to encounter bubbles. That's where a pasta machine comes in handy,
Right.
because doing that with like a rolling pin and just folding and
Yep.
working with your hands is quite time consuming. So
Mhm.
yeah,
I
but
love
just
your videos where you're putting the clay through the machine.
it's so satisfying. I could
It's
watch clay
satisfying to
mixing
watch.
videos all day.
I love that part.
Me too. Mixing
So,
colors is like my favorite.
so do you have to airtight container after all that mixing, or is polymer in its final state after it's baked?
It's in its final state after it's baked. You don't have to store it airtight
Mhm.
unless it's maybe going to be like years before you
Um,
use it. So even coming from the store, I don't think that those wrappers are always perfectly airtight. So, and
uh,
you can tell if it's like a little too old and has been on the shelf for too long. But
right.
even then, if you have the liquid clay, you can revive it.
Oh, okay. So little
So,
little tricks are
mhm,
definitely possible. So when
yes.
did you know you were hooked?
When did I know I was hooked? Like right away,
Right away.
immediately. Yeah. I think that polymer clay was something that like I didn't have a whole lot of access to as a kid. Like my
Right.
parents were more like, here, color this or like build this, fiber arts were like my family's thing for sure.
Yeah.
And I still love that so very much. But it was like this alluring thing that I wanted to do so badly. And I was, doing a lot of it with my own kids and thinking like, if I had access to the whole rack at the craft store, this
With
would
that,
be, yeah, the
that's a
dream come
fun
true.
game, Michelle.
All
I
the
love that
colors.
game. We should ask the people in our comments here. So I love that question. So you're going into one of the craft stores and you get the whole lane. What lane do you want? So let me jump
Oh,
on over to the comments and see. We've got lots of happy birthdays in our comments.
oh,
Thank
thanks
you.
everyone.
Thank you, Brenda and Gina and Samantha. That's so awesome. But our question, we're going to play this game. You're in the craft store. What lane do you want? All the things. And you're going to pick, obviously, Michelle, what lane?
Definitely the clay lane. There's a lot of good paint in that lane a lot of times too. So my options are endless.
So Gina says clay also in our
Hmm.
comments. I feel a little torn because I'm probably, part of me wants to say yarn, but
Mm.
right, but I don't want to store all of it. So, like,
Oh,
I'm
do
getting
we have to
practical.
store whatever we get? Is like
Yeah,
that?
yeah, we have to
Oh,
store it. So, like, now I feel like my order Muppet is, like, taking place of the Chaos Muppet, and I'm just like, I kind of think I would probably, and the paper, I don't think I'm going to pick that. I'm probably going to pick the lane with like the Posca markers and the Tombos, because they're like
Mm-hmm.
$6 a pop.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm probably going to pick that kind of stuff. Um,
Oh, the things you could do with all of those.
I
That might
know,
be my second choice.
right? And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like sometimes I just like looking, like I don't really want the opposite hobbies of, you've heard this where it's one hobby to collect all your supplies and organize them, and it's another hobby to actually use them.
Right.
Like, I don't want to be like that, but I do like looking at pens and markers.
Very satisfying. All the colors together. I
Yeah.
think I am like a color obsessed person. And that's a lot of what I love about clay is that the colors
Yes.
are so vibrant. So the markers, like all the art markers, really hit that, especially when you get them in a new pack and they're lined up in order. I really love it.
It's just the best.
It
So
is.
my bestie Paige, she wants all the paper. Samantha wants the watercolor aisle. Okay, I'm kind of feeling that
Oh,
as
yeah,
well,
that would.
even though I don't know that I know how to use it as well as our other besties. But I still,
Watercolors go hard.
yeah, I still like looking at them. I
Hmm.
also like looking at all the sketchbooks.
Yes, very satisfying. All that
Right.
untapped potential.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
nice.
exactly, exactly.
Hmm.
This is a fun game. I think I'm gonna have to
It
add this
is.
to like my list of questions. So, but before I get to that, I wanted to just make a couple of announcements about things that are going on at Big Raven Farm. Would you like to hear about them?
Of course, I want to so bad.
So we have a really great, well, we have about 20 retreats coming up here in 2024. So
What?
if you are interested in coming to a live retreat at Big Raven Farm, they are 4 days and 3 nights. Your registration includes your meals, your accommodations, optional yoga, and of course, all of your instruction, and in most cases, most of the supplies. The one that's coming up soon that I want to make sure folks know about, I'm really excited. It's called Art for Self-Care. And I am collaborating with another artist. Her name is Molly Anthony. And we are doing a bunch of individualized projects that can help you later on outside of a retreat space. So don't think so much about like decor or I'm going to make this particular thing. It's more intentional stitching, um, fabric collage. We're going to do eco dyeing. We're going to do cyanotype printing. We're going to be making fabric books. We're going to be showing folks how to do some of their own book binding. So more concentrated, individualized projects over these 4 days and 3 nights. So that is called Art for Self-Care, and it's coming up the second weekend in April. And I hope you'll be able to join us if you are interested. One of the things about that retreat and from the happy news in the world of crafting, I just came across another article, this one from Kent State University, where they were talking about how crafting can actually help us in times when we need to cope. And I, it's not like I need validation for my love and attraction to crafting, but sometimes my love and attraction to crafting become justified in these
Mhm.
things that I read, where it's like, oh, that makes sense.
There's
So,
science to support it.
right, there's
Yeah,
science to this. I don't want to
right.
call it madness, but there is there is
Maybe.
science to the craving of
Right.
why I love it and want to connect to it. So I'll connect that article in the show notes, but I just loved how I found this validation in coping, in getting into the flow, in muscle memory, in all of those things. So it was a really
Mm-hmm.
great article.
Sounds great. Yeah, we don't need the validation, but it sure does feel good.
Right? It just feels
Yeah.
nice. It feels
Yeah.
nice for sure, for sure. So I will link all the goings on at Big Raven Farm and how to join our craft club in the show notes. All of that will be there, tomorrow. So it'll be there really, really fast. So coming back to, some additional questions that I have for you, we now get to the segment that everyone loves, and we're going to get to our 10 questions.
I
So
do really
are
like
you
this.
ready for this?
I'm so ready.
I know you know the word. I know you know the questions, but I still can't wait to hear what you have to say. So, what is your favorite word?
Okay, my favorite word, this is like picking a favorite child, but I love like a word that sounds like the thing. Like guffaw is at the top of the list. Like
Is
it
that
sounds like,
an monopoeia or mono?
oh,
What is that
I
thing
don't know.
called?
Maybe that's a little bit subjective. Yes, that is when the word sounds like the thing. I feel
Right,
like that one could be.
guffaw.
Because you kind of like guffaw when you're laughing.
I love the shoulders.
I
I
love
love the
it.
whole like.
Yeah. I
That's,
love it.
that's
And
brilliant.
even like words like verklempt, like overcome
Yes,
with emotion, like that just sounds that's not onomatopoeia, but it sounds like it just fits so
right.
well. It's very satisfying.
So words that
Yeah.
are sounds, I love it. Like I
Hmm.
totally relate to that. So I'm very curious then about like least favorite word.
My least favorite word is not a specific one, but it's like the one you can't find. Like I just love words so
Oh.
much that
So
like
when it's like right, it's a grasp. Like it's
yeah, like the perfect word eluding me is like so irritating. But I think
interesting.
that all words have their place. So,
You were like the most positive person like ever. Like you're so good at the framing. Has anyone
oh,
told you
thank
that
you.
before? Like you're
Oh,
so good at taking something and positioning it or framing it in such a positive way. It's like your magic.
oh my goodness. Wow. I'm verklempt. Thank you.
Okay, I have another one for you then. And um, let me read the whole sentence. What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Um, I hate to say it, but rest, being fully rested, and I fight
Why
against
why
that.
do you hate to say it?
Well, because I'm just like the chaos Muppet
Ah,
loves to just like stay up late and do all the things and cram everything in.
mhm,
So realizing for me that like actually no, at stopping and resting is required to continue.
right.
That's a big one.
Do you have
And color. Yeah.
do you have a favorite form of resting? Does that like mean
Um,
actually like because for some people it might mean sleeping, but does it mean something for you different than that?
I think sleeping is a big one. Like
Mhm.
I think not overlooking that as a essential building block to all of the rest of life instead of like as a chore that I used to look at it as. And then I think being like getting away from my phone or,
Sure.
making the
Setting it
scroll
down.
impossible and
Yeah.
reading, like reading a actual book
Yep, that you
that I
hold in
hold
your
in my hands when my phone is nowhere nearby is the
right.
best way for me.
Right.
Mhm.
Exactly. Exactly. For me, I fight rest because I feel like I'm supposed to be productive all the time. Um,
Mm.
but when I finally do it, I like it's like a little light bulb goes off. I was like, oh, okay. This is this is what I should be perhaps striving for, so I don't feel so guffawed.
Yeah, frantic. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So, okay, same line of questioning. So what
Mhm.
turns you off? Like,
I
yeah.
th I think, like, stress and that feel like
Yeah.
that when I have overfilled my own plate,
Mhm.
then I find it very hard to function, so
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
other side of that coin, and also, not having a nice drink near me. I am fueled by, like, always having a fun drink.
Tell me what's fun. I don't think
I
I knew
mean,
this about you.
oh, my favorite like, I love tea, I'm obsessed with tea, but, like, my favorite ever on the earth is, like, any form of, like, iced tea with whether it's an Arnold Palmer or, like, I love a peach juice in a tea. Juice plus tea is
So not only do we
how I
have our
live.
birthdays in common, but we also have this whole Arnold Palmer thing in common.
We do?
We do. And like our Arnold Palmer life is so much so that we have 2 5-gallon pails in our refrigerator, one full of fresh brewed iced tea, the other one full of Crystal Light lemonade. So we don't have all that sugar. But I, uh huh, uh huh. And Michelle, they have spigots. So you can walk you can walk up to it and take your glass and just push, and then you can get your right combo. Because I like a little more lemonade. Darren likes a little more tea, and we serve them at our retreats and drink them all day long.
That's what I have in here right now.
I know, right? I'm like a little
No, I
envious
love
that I
it.
didn't
I
prepare one.
love that so much,
Oh, I
Jolene.
know, I love it.
I would go ham at your retreat. I hope I can come to one sometime.
We do. We do have people like go into our refrigerator and they're like, "God, I'm so sorry." They're like, "No, no, it's fine. Please, please help
This is what
yourself.
it's
We
for.
totally
This is
understand."
what
Yeah,
it's for. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. Now, I don't like them at like Starbucks and things. Like I think they call it a, a mixed iced tea or something like that. They're just too sweet.
Yeah.
Too sweet.
No,
Yeah.
oh, that's true. I really like the ratio to be more
Right.
tea
I
than,
like it a
yeah,
little more sour. Yes,
right.
exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
Hmm.
So, what is then? I mean, assuming that you let these fly from time to time. Um, I know
So
the
nice.
answer. That's why I'm laughing. So, what is your favorite curse word?
Oh, I just love like an unexpected, like, motherfucker, like if I hear that on the street and I don't know what it's about, I'm just like, oh, what's going on? Tell me all the tea, tell me what's. So that's my favorite, probably.
I
It's just
love
like an
that.
unexpected, the unexpected piece of it is helpful.
Well,
Or
and
like,
coming from you, honestly, it was a little unexpected.
exactly. See, I just had to drop it in there. I guess I shouldn't let my children listen to this one. I have
You,
little kids.
you said it so subtly that it was almost imperceptible. But I mean, I gotta say, I agree with you. I was walking through. Oh my gosh, I was on a business trip. I think I was walking through the streets of Baltimore, and like somebody let one of those fly just out of like corner of my ear, and I turned so hard because I was so curious about the
Mm-hmm.
story that went behind
Mm-hmm.
all of that energy.
I
Yeah, you
know
make a
the
good point.
drama. The
Yeah, that's
drama
really
attracts
bad.
me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
So, what sound or noise do you love?
I'm sure this is relatively cliche, but I love like running water, the sounds of nature if you're out in the woods and birds are chirping and things
Hmm.
like that. And the voices of people I love. That's my favorite.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Hmm.
I am with you. I'm more. I love when the children are laughing, and I'm
Mm.
not a part of it. I love
Oh,
overhearing,
yeah.
that, and I also love that. I'm so selfish though that I feel like I bring it back to me. Like, look at what I made. Look at this amazing group of people that I have, produced and how lovely and wonderful they are. So I kind of steal it and make it about me.
Oh, well, I think that's well deserved. Plus, it's just like really, I don't know. I think that there's a level of that that's not selfish. It's like special. Like, wow, like this happened through me. I'm so honored, like that's
I
how I
think
feel about it too.
I don't remember like the comedy skit exactly that it was, but there's one where like somebody says something and then the other person like is like, and back to me, and back to me. And I feel that goes off in my head when I do things like that. Like
Oh,
you know what I mean? I got conditioned by a sitcom somewhere. So what
no, we're all the main character. It's okay.
oh, thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. What sound or noise do you hate?
Um, when the noise level, like I get really sensitive to like being in a crowded restaurant and like not being able to hear
Yeah,
myself think.
overstimulating.
Yeah. So anything that is like the right combination to be overstimulating, which I
Mhm.
don't always know what that is, which is helpful to nobody, but that's my least favorite.
It's helpful to no one, but that is my truth.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. That's the
That
least
happened to
favorite.
me today. The vacuum was going and I was on a call and I couldn't
I
I couldn't
know.
do anything. I was a little bit overstimulated in every possible way. So what profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I think if I wasn't doing this, I would want to be a writer.
And what oh my goodness. And what genre?
I don't know. Like I love fiction, so maybe I would make up stories. I always did that as a kid.
Yeah,
So yeah, maybe novels, maybe just freelance. I could be a culture writer, and I think that I would, well, I would love that. I don't know that I could
right.
do it, but something like that.
I wonder what our crafty group of friends would say. Like, I wonder if they know this about you.
I don't know. We'll
I'm
have to
gonna
ask
tell
them. Okay, you can tell them.
So, what profession then would you not like to do?
Oh, accounting or anything heavy in math
Oh yeah,
or yeah. Yeah, being a doctor seems like it would be too much pressure. So
right.
those like professional.
Mathy things.
Yeah.
I'm with you there. One of my friends sent me an early birthday card that I got yesterday, and I can't wait to tell our friends about it because it was inspired by Lacey and Andrea. Like they did a little watercolor for me,
Mhm.
and then they also sent me a ruler with like fractions because I often say that fractions are fake numbers.
That's
So
so
they sent me a
relatable.
ruler with all of these fake numbers and then kind of highlighted how it's so Jolene because it like illustrates that all these numbers are in fact real and not fake. Um,
Uh,
so I'm
what
right
a
there with
buzzkill. Yeah.
right.
No,
No.
just kidding.
So is there anything, this is a new question and special just for you. Is there anything that you would really like to have for your birthday?
What do I want for my birthday? Plants. Like I am very into my garden right now, and I want all the flowers to be growing around me. So
Oh, that's so beautiful.
yeah,
And is there anyone that you are looking forward to celebrating your birthday with?
definitely my family, maybe a couple of friends. Maybe we'll go out to dinner.
Hi,
Oh,
friends!
hi!
What
Happy
about these
birthday!
particular friends? Happy birthday, Joe.
I'm so excited to see
Happy
you all.
birthday!
Hi, guys. Hi. I wish I would love to celebrate with you in person.
I know nobody has said anything, but I'm just so overwhelmed with excitement. For those of you listening, we have a whole surprise crew. We have Hannah from Sherwood Forest Creations, Andrea Nelson, and Lacey from Rebel Unicorn Crafts. And we all just jumped in and happy birthday surprise, Michelle. So if you're
And you're all wearing Meeshis. I'm verklempt again. This is so sweet. Oh, I love seeing your faces. Hi, friends.
I have to say that like this was my big idea, like bringing our crafty gang together to as a little birthday surprise, and then that's where the magic in my mind ended was like getting everybody this far, and then I
Oh, I
didn't really know
love
what would come
it.
next.
Oh, this is perfect. I love it so much. Nice to see you all.
Happy birthday or early birthday.
Thank you. Oh, look at your cat. Hello.
Carl.
Hannah, what's your cat's name? I can't remember.
Carl.
Carl, that's
Carl.
right.
I love it when animals have human names. I think that's such a good idea.
Me too.
Well, his brother's name is Dick. So
Nice.
Carl and Dick. Around here somewhere.
That's perfect.
That's awesome. Lacey, your dog is Moogly?
Moogie.
Moogie.
Yes.
Oh, mine. I used to have a cat named Steve, but life on the farm. I think that so we had him scheduled to go in for like his big procedure, and I think he was listening, because he like ran away the very next day.
Oh.
I know it was very sad. He was like the
I
best
think he
cat
was
ever.
smart.
I know that's what Darren said. He was like he was eavesdropping, and he was like, "There is no way that I'm doing that tomorrow."
I would get out of Dodge as well.
Exactly. Well, since we're talking about birthdays, so question to the group, now that we are of a particular age, like what are some of the things you like doing for your birthday?
I went to the library for my birthday.
Alone?
Yes, I did.
Sometimes the gift of being alone in a quiet place is I never thought I'd say that, but that's a nice birthday gift.
Right.
Mhm.
Andrea?
So my birthday is usually either like sandwich, but it's like somewhere around Thanksgiving. It's like it depends on the year, of course, but the last couple of years, it's been like the day before or Thanksgiving Day or the day after.
Yep.
Which is a horrible time to have a birthday when you are the preparer of Thanksgiving. So it's not great. And it wasn't great when I was a kid because it was always like people were always really busy with Thanksgiving stuff. So I don't have strong birthday traditions, but I will say Wes is my oldest, he's 23. When he was like 3 years old, he was like, we have to have a party for mom. And so every year they decorate and there's a theme. So they still do that. They do still do that.
That's really cute.
Even when it's on Thanksgiving.
Nice.
So that's
So
nice.
cute. Lacey, what about you? You're a summer birthday.
I like when my grandma makes me a rhubarb pie.
Ooh, pie.
I like that too. So did you miss all our birthdays at school, or did they do like half birthday and
They would usually throw all of us summer kids onto like a random day. Yeah.
so bad?
Lacey, tell them where you're going to be for your birthday this year.
Yeah, Lacey.
I'm going to be in Spain with Andrea on an art retreat.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do for my birthday is travel.
Yeah, me
That's
too.
the best. Mhm.
Oh my gosh, that's so great. Because when you said Spain, I was like, am I watching a rerun? I thought we just came home from Spain. That's so awesome.
Lacey always goes to Spain.
No, I do not always. I've been to Spain one time. Nick and I had been planning a trip for quite a while, and then Andrea sent me this retreat, and I was like, absolutely. And now it's just kind of a weird thing where 2 times in 1 year I'm going to go to Spain.
Wow,
It's a
that
watercolor.
sounds
It's a
great.
watercolor retreat where it's like there's like Lacey, do you know? Is it like 15 of us going or something?
Think so, or like closer to 10, but then the really
The two artists
talented,
that are
yeah.
doing it. Yeah. And so it's a whole week of like watercolor sketchbook stuff.
Wow.
And Lacey and I are both really nervous about it because we're both
so
like,
nervous.
we don't paint out in the world, in the wild. We paint like only right here.
What are Michelle and Hannah and I going to do? Like, you guys, what's our plan?
I know.
We can have.
Be so quiet.
I know it's true.
Well, we booked this like a year ago. Like this was like a long time. Yeah.
So
That sounds great. I hope it's
Yeah.
amazing.
I am so nervous about like traveling internationally, and Lacey figured out the whole thing so that we can go together.
Oh,
Nice.
that's
Oh,
nice.
so great.
I'm
So
going to get
travel
myself
agent.
like a tag that says emotional support travel human for Andrea.
Yeah,
I love that.
for sure.
When so Lacey, when you were traveling, your service was a little bit spotty in our little text group that we have, and I missed you. So I'm already working up to both of you being gone at the same time. Like, how do we get more minutes or more power? Like, what's our plan?
Yeah, we'll have to prepare emotionally, but you
Thank
should be
you.
you should be fully immersed. Like, we can hear about it when you get back.
You're so nice, and I'm so selfish. I'm like, I will miss you.
No, that's not selfish.
Well, so Jolene, what are you doing for your birthday?
Oh yeah, so Sunday, this Easter birthday. I don't know if you heard us say, but I think I've been on our birthday like 5-6 times in my life. When I was a kid, I thought that my birthday was always on Easter. I was surprised the next year when it wasn't. I was like, oh, Easter travels. I did not know that. So Darren's aunt always hosts. So we will be going to family dinner. And I'm actually really excited about it because I just know that they're going to be very happy birthday, Jolene, and I'm going to feel awesome to be with my family. It'll be great. Yeah, it'll be
Will
great.
your kids be there?
Yes, they will. All except for my California girl. She will not, but the other 3 will be there. So that will be nice. And my nieces and nephews, because when we're all together, we have 8 adults. Because we have 4 and my in-laws have 4. So it's so fun and then they bring all their partners and it's like just so many people to play Settlers of Catan with and to play games with, or sometimes I bring books and I make them fold them. So it'll be awesome. I do. I really do.
Yeah, you got to get that labor in there.
I do.
Make them work. Yeah.
I do. And they dare look at me or complain. And I have my ways. It's that sweet smile where you don't know if it's a spanking or if it's, like you don't know what it is.
That's got to mean something a little different when they're grown.
You're probably right, Lacey. I probably need a new metaphor. It's you.
So is it spring break for you guys with little kids?
It is
Are the
for
kids home?
Yeah, my kids are. I don't know if you've heard them at all yelling.
No, but I want to.
No, mine was last week. Ours is always like not Easter week, which is unusual compared to what I'm used to. But yeah.
Wow.
So does work get done when the kids are home?
Mm-mm.
Very little.
No, that's a no.
Very little. Nathan had the day off yesterday though, so I was able to, because his boss was out of town, so I was able to sneak in a little bit of work, but not much gets done.
No, not for me either. And I try really hard to give myself the freedom to just like not, like I don't post. I just am like, well, I'm a human being, not a machine, so I'll be back when I can.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. So
My family that lives in the house is away, so I am alone.
Ooh.
And it is so strange to be alone in my house overnight. Like I was like, where do I eat dinner? I could go anywhere. I could do anything. So like it's wild, but I'm glad it's only for 2 nights though. I'm like, I wouldn't want to do it all the time.
yeah, I always think I'm going to like it, but then I never really I like it a little, but then in the sleeping time, I don't like it at all.
Oh, I did not move last night. Like I didn't even unmake his side of the bed. And when I got up this morning, I just slid out and put the pillow back.
Yeah.
And it was made. Yeah.
I think for me, it's my imagination. It's so active and creative that I assume something terrible is going to happen in the night. And so I'm always like a one eye open kind of sleeper. But if somebody's here, then I never think of terrible things happening. It's very strange.
Do you think that's because you live kind of remotely? Because I grew up on a farm, and like even walking from the shed to the house when I would park my car, I'd be like, there's definitely somebody, there's a wolf in the tree. We don't have wolves around us. I don't know why I was thinking that, but I'm like making up things. But if my dad was at home, like, no, there's not a wolf in the trees. It's fine.
Same. It's kind of like when I was a kid, if I was the last one to go upstairs to bed, I would run like the devil was chasing me, like the devil's at the bottom of the stairs. But if there's somebody down there, then no, not scared at all. But yes, Lacey, yes, where I live has a lot to do with it. Are you other three just shaking your heads like this makes no sense? Or
No, I got a panic button. For when Nathan's gone, I have a literal panic button.
Oh wow.
How does it? So it's like hooked up to 911.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I'm right there with Jolene. That's why I'm giggling.
Well, you also live pretty rurally, right?
Yeah, because no one's hearing me scream. So
right.
I got a panic button.
No, I have some
I'm
close by neighbors.
I'm visualizing like the I've fallen and I can't get up lady.
Exactly.
Just like
Yes. I have it. I don't wear it, but I mean, I won't say that I won't because if I get paranoid enough, Arnold's not going to protect me. Okay.
I don't think so.
Carl and Dick are going to leave you to your own devices. That's for sure.
Yes. So,
well, and my dog too. My dog, he's not a protector. He doesn't know. Like that's just not his vibe. He is like. Here's the great. So this really happened. Darren and I were gone for the day, and we asked our neighbors to come over and let Augie out so he wouldn't be alone all day. And this was when we still lived in Minneapolis. So he saw our neighbors every single day. We shared a driveway. And she came in and she called him. He did not come down to the door. And she was like, oh, that's weird. So she starts looking through the house for him, still calling his name, a stranger in our home. I mean, basically calling his name, doesn't come. She finally finds him on the end of our bed snoozing. And she's like, sir, would you like to go outside? And he was like, oh, I didn't know you were here. And then, but she could have been like an intruder. He did not care. Not until they were nose to nose. So that's
Oh my gosh, how funny.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
that doesn't seem promising.
yeah, no, he's kind of like
you
this
have a giant
5-year-old.
dog though.
We have 2 dogs. One is like senior dog, so he's not gonna, I mean, I don't know how much help he would be. But my other dog, he looks very intimidating and he sounds like absolutely ferocious. Like he looks like a grizzly bear and sounds like one too, but he'd probably like lick the person to death. So
Yeah, but they don't know that.
Yeah, they don't know that. He's intimidating in that way. But I'm also just somewhat paranoid about being alone. But like Jolene said, if my husband is here, like I don't even think twice about it. But
Never.
But if I'm just here by myself, I get a little weirded out. I'm also not from the country originally, so I'm not used to being like so secluded because I grew up in the where like everybody knew everybody's business and
Right.
your neighbors were watching your house if you were gone and like that kind of stuff. So when we first moved out here, the first night that Nathan was gone overnight when he was still working at the hospital, I had sleeping with the windows open and I heard like the most terrifying noise I had ever heard and still have ever heard in my life. And I called him like bawling, like, there's like a devil outside my window. Like, I don't know what's going on. This is how I die. And it was a fox's vixen screech. So if you Google like vixen screech, it's like the most horrifying noise ever. And there was like a den like right outside our house, like right off the beaten path of our house. And I was like, this is how I go. This is how I go. The devil's coming for me.
That sounds like a noise that would just make your blood run cold. Like even just kind of hearing about it, I'm like, yeah. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Foxes are so cool though.
I love foxes. Like, and so I had no idea that's what it was because I had no idea that foxes made that noise. But it's like the girls when they're calling for a boy, I guess. They make this noise. I'm not sure why that would lure them in, but apparently that's the way they do it. And
you can't miss me.
Yeah. Holy smokes, yeah.
Come on, yeah.
So, well, before we have to say goodbye, I just have one more question, and it's a very important one, and it's about birthday cake. Is it birthday cake, birthday pie, or some other kind of birthday something? Lacey, you're shaking your head, you're thinking about it.
I already know.
Oh, okay.
It's the pie. It's the rhubarb pie.
It's pie.
It's pie. What kind of pie?
Rhubarb or strawberry rhubarb.
Right.
I don't think I've ever had a birthday cake.
Right, you're more of a pie.
Mm-hmm.
You've had rhubarb pie without, is it without strawberry or it's always strawberry rhubarb?
It goes between. I actually kind of like just the rhubarb because I like the bit of sour.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I've had that. I'll have to try that. I don't think I've ever had it without strawberries.
Lacey, have I ever told you that every year we harvest about 30 pounds of rhubarb?
That doesn't surprise me because like my grandparents keep trying to be like, do you want a rhubarb plant? Our rhubarb plant is too big. Do you want some rhubarb?
Yes. Yes. And we can get 2 harvests out of it if we trim it before July 4th, and then we can get another batch out. So we clean, process, and then freeze so that I'm able to have a rhubarb pie almost anytime I want because it's one time.
I mean, that's a version of craftiness right there.
Oh, yeah.
Makerness for sure.
I've never eaten a rhubarb pie or made a rhubarb pie.
Stop
I think
it.
I've either.
No.
The crust seems intimidating to me, which as I say that sounds stupid because like
Yeah, Michelle, you're just terrible at rolling things out that are like substance.
I mean, to be fair, crust does seem clay adjacent.
It does. I just realized that.
Well, we're gonna have to solve this whole rhubarb situation because it's amazing. It's the best. I love it. So, okay. Well, Andrea, what are you going to have for your birthday?
I mean, it's usually pumpkin pie because it's Thanksgiving.
Do you like it? Do you like a pumpkin pie though?
Nah, I mean, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. If
that is like truth adjacent.
yeah,
I
like,
might use
if
that. Fantastic.
yeah. If my birthday is not like lumped into Thanksgiving festivities, then I don't have like a go-to because I like everything. So it's like I could do, there's this place in Marietta called the Marietta Diner that's like an old fashioned diner where it's all like stainless steel and neon lights on the outside. And they make giant pieces of cake that are like this big.
Yeah.
And Steven will just go and get like 3 different pieces and bring them home. And then we all just eat cake. That is high on the list. There's like a chocolate one and there's a strawberry shortcake one. There's a white chocolate with raspberry cake. It's really good. So, but in general, I don't turn down dessert ever.
I love all those words.
Is it even a party without dessert, Andrea?
No.
It is not, according to Owen. It is not a party without a dessert.
Well, Hannah, what about you? What are you going to have at your birthday?
I used to always say cheesecake, like caramel turtle cheesecake. I'm gluten-free now, which is a huge bummer. But I'll cheat for a piece of cheesecake on my birthday.
Nice. Michelle?
I also had a lot of homemade cheesecakes that my mom made for birthdays, so that has a special place in my heart. I do like a really good chocolate cake. Or like no cake at all and like a fruit tart. Like we have a bakery near us that makes this like such a good fruit tart and it's so beautiful. So that's
it's
one
like
of my
art
favorites.
and flowers. I love that.
All right, Jolene, what's yours?
I have kind of a list because like I say that I don't like cake, but then I have these like exceptions to this rule. So like a carrot cake that's like this tall with like lots of layers. Me too. And cream cheese frosting and like each bite is like balanced with just enough frosting. Like that sounds really good. Darren also makes an apple pie, but he combines crust on the bottom with Dutch apple pie on the top. So it's like a pie and a crisp and a crumble. Like all rolled into
my
one.
favorite apple pie type.
Exactly, because you get a bite of the buttery, crunchy, crispy bit, and you still get the benefit of the crust on the bottom. So it's just like win, win, win all over the place. And then my third thing is there is the donut shop in Minneapolis called Glam Doll Donuts, and they make a donut called the Femme Fatale, and it is kind of like it's red. And I can't describe it. It's almost like a passion fruit. And then it's got white frosting, but on the inside, it's this really sour, sweet explosion of delight.
I would like to try it.
And it comes with like a little candy heart, like a teeny thin, tiny candy heart on the top. And like I said, it's called the Femme Fatale. And every bite is just like, it's like you just want more bites. Like you're never, and like with a really good cup of coffee. Yes.
Ooh, that sounds excellent.
But I've given this no thought. This is just. Oh, Gina in the comments is like, yes, glam doll. Yes, Gina, exactly. She's familiar with it. So yeah, thank you for that validation. I appreciate it.
And we gotta go. I gotta go there.
I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much, Michelle, for being here. Hannah,
Thank
Lacey,
you.
Angela, thanks
Happy
for
birthday, guys.
Happy birthday.
It felt very birthday-ish. I'm very excited. So for all of you listening to the Happy Time Craftcast, either on iTunes, Facebook, or YouTube, thank you so much for being here. And thanks for joining us again on April 10th, where my guest is Suzanne Early. Suzanne is the editor of Strawberry Moon Magazine, a magazine about art journaling. And I'm very excited to welcome Suzanne. And that will be our next episode, the second Tuesday of the month in April. So thank you to my friends and thank you to all of you. And we will see you next time.
Thank you. Thanks, Jolene. Bye,
Bye, everybody.
friends.
Happy birthday.